Jennifer considered herself an absolutely happy person. And how could it be otherwise? Because next to her was her beloved, handsome husband, who also loved his wife. Favorite job, separate housing, donated by parents in honor of the wedding. A couple of days ago, a young woman found out about her pregnancy. Only she had not yet had time to tell her husband this good news. She was thinking about how to present it. Indeed, recently it has become fashionable to do this in an original way. So Jennifer is studying this lesson. Today, she came home from school earlier than usual, and this meant that there was time to prepare dinner. Maybe just have a romantic evening and tell Jackson about the pregnancy, Jennifer thought. No, it's banal. I'd better think about it some more. Time is fleeting, she answered herself. While busy with dinner, she did not notice how her husband returned home. It smells. So, you can swallow the tongue, Jackson said and gently hugged his wife by the shoulders. My beloved decided to spoil me with something delicious, he said, winking at Jennifer. Just wash your hands first and wait until everything is ready. I don't like it when it's quiet. And Jackson retreated to the bathroom, saying that the word of his beloved wife was law for him. Jennifer liked everything about him. His regular facial features, his beautiful athletic figure, his height, especially his eyes. She fell in love with him at first sight. She always considered herself ordinary, not even pretty, but Jackson always said that there was something special about her. In addition, the thick, long braid was a sight for sore eyes. Jackson interrupted the young woman's thoughts by appearing at the door, so she had to start dinner, because the table was already set. It was noticeable that he clearly wanted to say something, but did not dare. Jackson, what happened? You see, your father constantly finds fault with me. At work, it's already inconvenient in front of my colleagues. Could you talk to him in a challenging manner? Jackson asked. What are you saying? He's just worried about the company. It's his brainchild, you know? We should be grateful to him for this apartment and for providing you with a great job. Jennifer tried to soften the unpleasant conversation, but instead received a backlash. Jackson jumped up from his seat and shouted, Do I now have to bow to him for the rest of my days for this? I work for two people, and he is unhappy all the time. Thank you. My wife called me supportive, and without allowing Jennifer to insert a word, he went into the room, defiantly slamming the door. The girl could hardly hold back her tears. Such a quarrel happened for the first time between them. Having put away the untouched dinner, she went to sleep in another room, but sleep categorically did not want to come, plunging her memories of her and her husband's first meeting that day. They came with Kate to a disco, as they did every weekend. The girls were friends almost from birth and were, as they say, inseparable. Those around them were perplexed about how to connect them. After all, they were so different. Kate was bright and beautiful. Jennifer was distinguished by her modesty, shyness, and quite ordinary appearance. But maybe because they complemented each other perfectly, their strong friendship began. But the dream of meeting a prince united them, as did most girls their age. That evening, Jennifer saw Jacob and realized that she was missing. Just one glance in her direction was enough, but there were always a lot of girls around such a handsome man, so she soberly assessed her chances, but continued to sigh for him. Jennifer shared her feelings with her friend, however. Kate advised her to quickly forget about him, since in her opinion, Jacob was not interested in a serious relationship. But Jennifer would never agree to be a girl for one evening. Time passed, and the feelings did not fade, even flared up even more than those of all the guys trying to look after her. Since everyone was clearly a loser when compared to him, even Jacob's friend Jake, who was also a very nice guy, tried to court her, but was rebuffed. But one Saturday evening, she heard a girl behind her. Can I invite you to a slow dance? It was Jackson who nodded in response. Jennifer had little idea what was happening, as excitement and trepidation overwhelmed her that evening. He walked her home, and so their meetings began. Deep down, she didn't understand why he chose her, but she felt great joy from what was happening. Meanwhile, the relationship with Kate began to fade into the background, but Kate was not offended. At least that's what she told Jennifer during meetings. The only thing that offended Jennifer a little was that Kate did not at all share her enthusiasm for her groom. At first, she tried to dissuade her from meeting with him, but realizing the futility of this activity, she tried to completely ignore any stories about him or quickly change the topic of conversation. So the girls gradually moved away from each other. In addition, the relationship between Jennifer and Jackson became serious, so there was no time for girlfriends at all, and Kate had Jennifer, unnoticed by herself, fell asleep. Waking up in the morning, she realized that her husband was no longer at home. He had never left before without kissing her goodbye. Are you really that offended? Jennifer thought, but after a couple of hours a message came to her phone with the word sorry and a lot of pleasant emoticons. Her mood improved noticeably, and she decided to go shopping at the mall. Passing by the children's department, she wanted to buy booties for her baby. And while she was choosing a color, she suddenly saw a familiar face. Kate. Jennifer shouted and rushed to hug her best friend. I'm so glad to see you. You have no idea. Shall we go and chat in a cafe? Jennifer happily suggested. Let's go. But I'm not alone. And only then Jennifer noticed a boy of about 3 years old peeking out from behind her friend. Son, asked Jennifer. Yes, meet me. This is Jake. We met by chance today at the shopping center. Her son is already 3 years old, can you imagine? She joyfully told her husband. But to her surprise, he did not share her enthusiasm. But why drag all sorts of old friends into our house? I never liked her at all. Nothing good will come from communicating with her, Jackson answered in a dissatisfied voice. Jennifer decided not to raise this topic again, but consider the issue of tomorrow's meeting resolved. She didn't want to miss the chance to chat with her friend at the appointed time. Kate appeared on the threshold with a cake in her hands. The friends laughed merrily, remembering their adventures. Jackson was late at work. To Jennifer's questions about her husband and the father of the child, Kate answered that she was divorced, but maintained a relationship with her ex-husband. Late in the evening, when Kate was about to leave, Jackson appeared on the threshold, absent-mindedly saying hello. He immediately retreated into the room. The next morning, he left again while his wife was still sleeping, not understanding the change in her husband's behavior. Jennifer decided to blame everything on fatigue at work and tension in her relationship with her father. After some thought, she finally decided to talk to her father, calling him and arranging to meet during his lunch break. Jennifer booked a table at a cafe not far from his work. The father adored his only daughter, but at the beginning of his Dad, I know that you don't like Jackson, but I ask you, please, don't cling to him. He tries his best, works hard. Moreover, he feels uncomfortable in front of his colleagues for your constant reprimands against him. Jennifer looked questioningly at her father. He works hard, he tries, daughter. I didn't want to tell you, but since this conversation came up, I'll say, your Jackson goes to work at the chess club, constantly spilling. Moreover, he was recently caught by me personally for a very unpleasant act. Our competitors offered him a tidy sum for leaking information. I'm keeping him only for your sake, but excuse me, I think my patience will soon run out, the father answered sharply. Jennifer could not believe what she heard, promising to talk to her husband, and asked to give him one last chance based on the information received. The girl couldn't come to her senses, so she decided to take a walk in the park and get some fresh air. To her surprise, she met Jake there, the same friend of Jackson who was once not indifferent to her. During the pleasant conversation, time flew by unnoticed. In parting, Jake told her a strange phrase, "Here is my business card. There are my contacts. I feel that you can call me. No matter what happens in your life, I will always be there." She was embarrassed, quickly put the business card in her wallet and hurried home. By the time her husband arrived, she realized that Jake still had feelings for her. Jennifer returned home when her husband had already arrived. Not knowing where to start the conversation, I decided to talk about the meeting with Jake, but Jackson just grinned evilly. "What? Lately you have been having a lot of random meetings." This raises certain suspicions on my part. After all, Jake tried to hit on you, and here you are walking with him in the park. There is nothing to suspect me of. I remain faithful to my wife. And the fact that I chatted with your friend means absolutely nothing. Since when did you start not trusting me? But Jackson didn't answer, turned around, and went to his room. The next morning, Jennifer decided to visit her mother-in-law, with whom she had an excellent relationship, and find out what was happening with Jackson. But she sincerely did not understand the reasons for her son's changes. "Let's drink tea and chat about abstract topics." The young woman was about to leave when she suddenly saw a photograph of a child on the wall, hanging in a frame. She hadn't looked at the photo of Kate's son before. "Who is that boy?" she asked her mother-in-law in a trembling voice. "Like who?" "This is your husband as a child. Didn't you recognize him?" The mother-in-law was surprised, but Jennifer didn't hear her anymore. She walked out on weak legs and headed home. There were a lot of questions. The door to the apartment was not locked, so Jennifer entered, but the voices coming stopped her. From what I heard, a chill appeared on my skin. "How long will you continue to bother with this gray mouse? The child needs a father. I'm tired of your attacks. I want you to live with us forever." She heard the voice of her once best friend. "I think it won't be long now. Her daddy is already sick of me. I was thinking of saving money and getting a divorce. I already have a certain amount, but he recently babysat, and now he's watching my every move. I'm tired of pretending to be caring and loving husband. I'm already disgusted by her, but all that remains is to re-register the apartment in my name, and nothing is keeping me here. Be patient a little. You know how much I love you and our son," Jackson said and kissed Kate. "I love you too from the very first meeting. When you hit me, you can imagine how jealous I was of you all this time. But you know that it was necessary for business. You and I have absolutely nothing. And this ugly girl has a rich dad, and it would be a sin not to take advantage of her naivety and resources. Moreover, you yourself told me that she is crazy about me." Having said this, Jackson laughed along with Kate. Jennifer's eyes darkened. Coming out of the entrance, she lost consciousness. When she came to her senses, she learned that she had lost her child. Her parents were nearby and supported her as best they could, telling her father everything. It was possible to prevent Jackson's scam